Hello and welcome to another edition of Tundra Talk. I am Brandon Rucker along with Aaron Wagner, and today we are talking about secondary prospects in the NFL draft. We're going to talk about some of the better ones overall, meaning guys that will be taken high in the draft, and then a couple that are going to be in Green Bay's range potentially, maybe first and second, third, fourth round, something in that area. So anyway, Aaron, let's kick it off. Let's talk about the top of the crop, so to speak. Corners, safeties, lump them together. Who are your guys?
Top guys, Morris Claiborne, LSU corner, Drake Kirkpatrick, Alabama corner. Those two are the cream of the crop for cornerbacks. Then as far as safety, got Mark Barron, who's a first round pick, strong safety. There's not a whole lot of free safeties in this class that are upper echelon. Some names to keep in mind in the secondary: Stephen Gilmore. His stock is rising a lot. Some people have him above Kirkpatrick, actually, or even above Jenkins. A lot of people think he could be the second corner taking. His stock's going up.
Possibly.
But personally, I'd say Kirkpatrick is the second best, in my opinion.
I like
I know the marijuana thing affected his stock earlier, but that kind of got blown over and such like that. So I think Kirkpatrick is the second best corner. He should be gone in the first 15, I would think. Then you go, farther in the draft. Packers, they have corners, but Woodson's not getting any younger. Shields had a sophomore slump. I think he'll get better. We have Devon House. But I think, there's always a need for quality corners. Some names to keep in mind. Tremaine Johnson out of Montana. It's a second-round pick. Heard a lot of good things about him. I've heard him mentioned with the Packers before. And one other name is Josh Robinson, possible third-rounder out of Central Florida. I've heard he's an ideal match for the Packers. It just depends on, what round they get him in. If these guys slip around or two, then I think he'll be there. You could see Thompson getting a corner in second or third round. As far as free safety, we'll find out in the next couple of weeks about Nick Collins for sure. Yeah, like I said, there's not a whole lot of top prospect free safeties. The only one would be Markel Martin out of Oklahoma State. I'm kind of a big fan of his. I'm not taking him in the first round.
Right, but he's a second.
Maybe under the second round, third round. As far as secondary, you got your elite prospects after that. Everyone kind of mushes together. I don't know what your thoughts are on the secondary, whether the Packers should possibly take one in the first 3 rounds, per se.
Yeah, I think the first round, if you're Green Bay, you have to go pass rusher. Teddy never drafts for need, but I think this is the closest thing you have to a need in Green Bay because of the fact that other than Clay, you don't have a pass rusher, period. I want to talk about 2 corners in particular, guys that I really like. And I don't know necessarily, I think they'd be good fits in Green Bay, but I don't think they'll go to Green Bay. They're first to second round grades. But because of our needs with a pass rush, I don't see them coming to Green Bay. But Janoris Jenkins is a corner out of North Alabama, projected first, second round. This is a guy that has major character issues, and that needs to be said. He also has major talent.
Yep.
So, fact of the matter is, you're going to gamble. You have to gamble. And this is not a guy I think Green Bay would take. But as far as talent goes, he's one of the best. I think his talent is in the league of Claiborne and Kirkpatrick. Not necessarily at that level, but, it's comparable. That's a guy that, because of his character issues, is going to fall. And somebody's going to get talent for that. The question is can the talent overtake the personal issues? That's a big question, and it happens, guys, every year. Another guy I really like is Alfonso Dennard from Nebraska. This is a guy that I really like. I think he's a hard player, works hard, good player. I think he's a guy that, if he's there in the second round, I think about taking him. I don't think he's a first-round pick.
I would agree with you.
And plus, like I said, I don't think Green Bay is looking for a corner or a safety in the first round, even though it will be interesting if Mark Barron falls to them, depending.
Yeah,
it's a hard thing to say.
We've talked about this before. He's an interesting. They say strong safety, but he does possess the playmaking abilities to be a free safety.
Yeah. And it all depends on Collins too, because if Nick Collins is back, I'd like to think he steps right in and takes his spot back.
Oh, without a doubt.
But
without a doubt, yeah.
we have to be prepared for the fact that he could be done. And it's very possible he will never play football again. We don't know, and it's really hard to talk about this until we have that information in front of us. But those are two guys that I really like, Jenkins and Dennard. If we're looking at safeties, George Iloka, I think I pronounced that right, out of Boise State, is a really big safety.
He is huge.
He's a free safety. He's a guy that is, I think he could be if he's there in the third, maybe even fourth round. He's ranked second to third, but if he falls, let's say like the fourth, he's an interesting pick. Green Bay maybe takes a look at him. I really like Aaron Henry out of Wisconsin. He's a littler guy, about 5'10", 5'11", but he's a ball hawk. He's a guy that's a third, fourth round rank, and again, if he's there in the fourth, fifth round, think about it, take him. Those are some guys that I really like. Trent Robinson out of Michigan State's another guy that, fourth, fifth round rank. I don't know if I'd necessarily take him in that range, maybe fifth or sixth, but the guy that's definitely there. So I mean, there's some good guys for Green Bay to take. But what's going to elude them from getting the top tier guys, not only is the fact that they're big in 28, but the fact that corner is not necessarily, in my opinion, a need for this draft. I think you can make our secondary look a lot better by making it so that they actually don't have infinity amount of years to cover a receiver before, you know what I mean? Because the pass rush was non-existent, and it's a trickle-down effect. Everything looks worse because of the first thing. So, so that's why I feel about the secondary.
Yeah, just one more thing to add. If Collins can't play, I think M.D. Jennings.
Yep.
I think he's a leading candidate. I think Thompson and McCarthy trust their scouting and their coaching ability that he would be a leading candidate to be their free safety. Because there's not other than Mark Barron, there's not a lot of guys that he'd be a great safety.
Yeah.
And
Barron's only first. Well, going into the draft, only first round quality.
Yeah. So it's hard to say at this point too, but I will add though that the best teams in the league generally do have good safeties.
Yeah. No, and that's true. And I personally really like Morgan Burnett in Green Bay. I think he's a guy who's going to take some learning process. I mean, last year you looked at him, he played for technically it was his second year, but I kind of call him an advanced rookie because even though he was able to watch from the sidelines for the majority of his rookie year, he never really got in there because of his injury. So
he was kind of playing out of position too, because I think they actually had him at free safety.
Yep.
He's more of a strong safety.
Right. But to start, you're not going to kick a Pro Bowler out of there.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So, that's a thought.
And he didn't have a whole off-season workout with the lockout. So I think, you look at
but I
players
was
like
impressed
him.
with what I saw.
Look like players like him, Sam Shields, and I'm a big fan of Devon House. I think you get them a whole offseason of work. I think you're going to see good signs.
Let me ask you a quick question, Aaron. Let's say you get, second round, and 20th pick of the second round comes up, and let's say Jenkins or Dennard or even Gilmore, which probably is unlikely because he's rising, but let's just, for sake of argument, say one of those three is available. Do you, thinking that maybe Woodson could switch to safety, do you draft one of those guys? Is there any chance that you think Woodson would switch to safety or not?
That's a very interesting question.
I think I've heard Charles say that he doesn't want to.
Yeah, I think it's because they run, Woodson basically is free roamer. He runs his own, they have own packages for him. I know he's been mentioned to play, that people want to play safety, but I would say even if those guys are there, there's some reason why they fell.
Yeah,
I
especially a guy like Jenkins.
Yeah,
and I really don't see Ted Thompson taking a guy with character issues.
Exactly, I would agree with you.
One of the last GMs in the league, in my opinion, to take it out of that. So, Aaron, you got anything else to say about anybody in a secondary anywhere?
That's all I got for the secondary. To be quite honest with you.
Me as well. But it'll be interesting to see. Look for what Green Bay does in the draft in 1 month and a half.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, for Aaron Wagner, I am Brandon Rooker, and this concludes another episode of Thunder Talk. So, I'd like to thank you guys for watching.